Thank you, comrades. Revolutionary Greetings, student of Manifesto, officers, ground forces, and leadership of FFSAUP. My task is simple today is to deliver a manifesto of treasury. Access to higher education was widely open since the inception of democratic era as prior 1994. Access and participation in South African higher education was uneven. While higher education transformation has partially addressed the issues of injustices of apartheid, absence and lack of finance remains a key barrier hindering access to higher education for many young people. Financial barriers still persist to draw a line between those who enroll in and graduate from higher learning institutions and those who do not. There are many factors that determine the success even after the access that should be considered. Therefore, access should not be an end in itself. Participation in higher learning institutions for students from marginalized backgrounds is still largely influenced by factors that affect their capabilities, including communities, high school and families they come from. The Office of Treasury is not functioning to its full potential, having demonstrated the incapacity from not creating funds adequately to effectively deal with student needs. Upfront registration fees serve as a barrier and deterrence to access of education, and realization of Section 29 subsection 1B of the Constitution. Illustrative requirement which has no legal standing in law and in any legal and governing document must be challenged to ensure that students are able to register with ease. One cannot be entitled to that which is not yet due. An obligation arises after. Currently, the non-existent requirement used to provide the economic status and capacity to pay before registration. The unethical conduct of requiring such is equivalent to requiring one to paying for a bread and pick and pay entrance before taking it from the shelf. Registration fee remains part of the tuition cost, which such an obligation will arise after such registration. This is the highest legal, irrational, and infringement to student rights. Students from all social classes are continuously faced with the debt as one of the worst aspects of their university life, financial difficulties. Students who are not able to pay for their fees become faced with an option of putting their families into debt or dropping out. But some do not even have their choice because their families do not even qualify to make loans, and eventually they drop out. Students who are self-funded or have bursary funding suspending to due performance, with many who may have their funding terminated, are forced to see themselves in addressing the debts before enrollment at the beginning of the year. This also does not include international students who have to contend with the high cost of minimum of at least 50,000 comprising registration, medical and visa costs, along with resident levies or deposit with rental of 6 to 3 months and before enrollment. Such financial difficulties increase the likelihood of students withdrawing early from their academic programs. In responding to the above, I intend to transform the Office of Treasury through Section 23 of the CSG, which allows the office to interact with the media with an intent to bring the student issues to potential donors. Both sector-specific and neutral bodies will be approached to ensure non-exclusionary process of student benefiting. Media engagement will not be the only form of fundraising. A Treasury Sub-Council will conduct continuous monthly outreach to raise adequate funds to address the various financial difficulties. For example, your registration fee, tuition, and historical debts. Treasury Sub-Council is currently limited, and I intend to inspire the Council to include all treasurers from all different structures, including those in private accommodation. A well-capacitated sub-council affords an opportunity, creates sufficient financial capacity which will help to address student needs with issues that are adequately diagnosed. If a day student in a private accommodation is facing rental difficulties, such resources can be channeled to a student with ease. The same shall be with many other student issues. The university should start awarding academic excellence. A student with a minimum of 60 GPA should not be subjected to processes of exclusion and potentially wasting their careers. Section 35 of Higher Education Act, which gives life to the establishment of SRC for the advancement of student interest in universities, The establishment of such statutory body continuously being undermined by provisions in the CSG, for example, Section 23, that states that the treasurer is accountable to the university. This is illegally incorrect, we tell you as law students. The SRC is elected by students and not university authorities. This has created the culture of the SRC being a pauper of a student statutory body, not seen as an equal stakeholder in all engagement, thus creating difficulties and all manners of limitation, which to forever seek permission from the university to speak and address student issues. The SRC must be independent. The SRC independence will be used extensively to create revenue fund in addition to the efforts of Treasury Sub-Council through the use of contractual powers. The university continues to use students as an asset to create revenue, apart from collecting normal fees on tuition, accommodation, and so on, in its interaction and agreement with several businesses, sponsors, etc. Fundraising and revenue generation are two different things. Now we are lecturing you. The revenue generation over time will assist to service the needs of students, including ensuring that allocation for addressing social needs. This will include helping students who may have lost funding because of sexual offenses, and such had diverse impacts on their academic performance. Fundraising initiatives are good, but not always sustainable in nature, and the revenue fund bridges this gap by bringing more opportunities to students, not only the financial aspects, but also personal and career development. A simple advertising agreement with the corporation in the exchange of revenue receipts or employment for or funding a particular number of students must be used. The university uses its brand to secure large incomes. The brand of the SRC must be used extensively to benefit the students. This needs no one's permission but that of the students. There are various issues that the student will be faced with next year. Tax rates top-up, private accommodation top-up, registration fee increasing to 10,000 for undergraduates, 12.5 for postgraduates, and likely over 60,000 for international students. You therefore need a capable militant treasurer general who will work tirelessly in advancing and promoting equal access in higher education and student populace.